How's it going, guys? This is Ryo Murata, photographer based in Tokyo. So I don't know who said it, but there has been a famous saying or phrase or sentence that if you never use a specific camera, equipment, or lens for more than a year or maybe two, why hold on to it? And this is sort of like a significant phrase that kind of struck me because this can be applied to almost everything. It could be clothes and stuff like that. If we don't use it for the whole like 1 year or 2 years, why is it in the dry cabinet? Why is it in the storage room? Because we all probably rent a house. We constantly pay for that, and at the same time we have to keep in mind that we're basically paying for that storage space within our room, within our lifestyle. So that sort of like quote struck me, and I was actually cleaning my sort of like dry cabinet, which lens, which camera, specifically lenses actually, that I haven't used for a couple of like years or so. And I have to unfortunately say that the Zhongyi Optics Speedmaster, Mitakon Speedmaster 35mm F0.95 Mark II, which is really long to say, actually fits in that category, unfortunately. And this might be I think everyone has this phrase where they're sort of like shifting towards a different direction in their sort of like career as a photographer. And for me, for digitally, I've been sort of like shifting towards the lightweight compact setup actually. And you guys probably know I love the XT3 from Fujifilm. I dislike the XT4 because it's big, bulky, and heavy, but I have to use it for my YouTube contents. But the XT-5 is, because they shaved down the weight, I love it actually, although they increased the megapixels and stuff like that. But going a little bit off topic, going back onto topic, the Zhongyi Mitakon 35mm f0.95 Mark II, when it first came out, it received so many, acclaim for being a super fast lens. And when we say super fast lens, it's basically the f-stop number is really small, like f1.0, f9 0.95. And this lens, when you looked across the whole spectrum in the Fujifilm X-mount lenses, it was basically one of the only lenses that offered the f0.95 experience. And for me, that was a really refreshing experience. But over the course of years, that sort of like started to blur out, because due to the fact that many manufacturers started to come out with super fast primes, such as the Cam Lens 32mm f1.1, 7 Artisans 35mm f0.95, TT Artisans have their own 35mm f0.95, and also Cosina Voigtlander has their own 35mm 1.2 ultra fast prime actually. And like I said, why hold on to that lens if I don't seldom use it? And I have to say that I had to like give up on this lens because I did not have that much of a time using it, unfortunately. But for your information, Zhongyi Mitakon is sort of like a Chinese lens brand, actually, third-party manufacturers that sort of like specifically make manual focus lens for various mounts. And for the X mount, their sort of like famous one was this actually 35mm f0.95. And the first generation, a lot of people hated, but the second generation, they kind of improved the optics by getting more like resolution out of their sort of like lens design. And in this company, the Zhongyi Optics Mitakon series actually, or company should I say, started to sort of like disappear in the dust due to the fact it might be I don't know what happened to them, but they haven't released a super new lens over the course of the past couple of years, if I'm right, especially for the X mount. And similar to Camline, actually, they haven't made any new lenses on their roadmap actually. So probably their business is faltering, if I'm right, while their sort of like manual focus type of lenses have been overshadowed by various competitors, such as right now 7 Artisans and TT Artisans are basically one of the top 2 brands for manual focus lenses actually as of 2023. So I thought it would be nice to sort of like use this lens just once in a while and make a video on it, just shooting with my XT-5. It's a sad retirement, unfortunately. There was sort of like an event going on in downtown Tokyo in the Ginza area, and this happens actually once per year if I'm right. And downtown Ginza are on top of Matsuzakaya or Matsuya Ginza department store. Actually, they every year they do an art aquarium sort of like exhibition, which is you had to pay for it, unfortunately. But they were actually doing that in the course of like 1 month or so, and it's a sort of like a art, not an art gallery, but more like an aquarium gallery of showcasing traditional Japanese goldfishes. And because they were sort of like combining the sort of like art of the goldfishes and the sort of like aquarium itself, the area is pitch dark, which is where these types of lenses, ultra fast lenses, excel actually. So I thought it would be nice to like sort of use this lens to showcase you guys what I could get from this specific lens in combination with the XT-5 actually. So, and yeah, and shoot the goldfishes, but keep in mind that I had issues focusing because goldfishes swim rather fast actually, and because it's a manual focus lens, I was not able to get the focus right on the majority of the photos. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy the video. After shooting, I have to admit that shooting at f0.95 is exhilarating at first, similar to, I guess, purchasing a car, which I never done in my life, but people get used to it and it becomes unspecial over the course of the years. And typically I realize over the course of the years that I don't shoot at f0.95 because typically at that point you don't know what the heck you're shooting, or your audience doesn't know what the heck you're shooting because the depth of field is so shallow. So typically when I'm shooting with this lens, I shoot around at f2 or f2.8 or maybe f4 around, or 5.6 to give my viewers some kind of context of what the heck I'm shooting. So, and at the same time, I forgot to mention that this lens weighs roughly 440 grams, which is much more than the Fujifilm's 23mm f2, most of the Fujicron's lenses for digital, and also 440 grams is actually similar to the zoom lens that I use, the kit lens actually. The 18 to 55mm is roughly around that 400-500 gram range. And when you think of one prime weighing more than 400 grams, it's pretty heavy for its size, although it's like really small. But over the course of the years, I realized that weight is a consideration, which is sort of like greater in my opinion, because if you can't get that shot, why hold on to that lens? So I thought it would be nice to like make a video on this topic. So yeah, obviously this video is not sort of like a review or anything, but more like saying my last farewells to this lens, because I haven't used it for quite a long time, and I thought it would be nice to sort of like make it retire. And at the same time, this is like really important, I guess, life advice for you guys. If there's like a specific lens that you don't use for an extended period of time, unless you're like if you're like making money out of that lens, like as in job purpose, it might be wise to hold on to it if there is that special occasion that your clients, or if someone wants you to take a specific type of photos that has super shallow depth of field. I guess there is a reason to hold on to that. But in my case, I found it like unlikely that that's gonna happen over my photography career. And typically, because I'm a product photographer, typically product photography, especially for e-commerce, people who buy stuff online would rather want the image to be full on focus rather than having sort of like an image type of sort of like, I guess, photo in a magazine and stuff like that actually. So went off topic, but yeah, it was a great experience like shooting with this lens. And yeah, I am basically investing that money on a different equipment. And I guess it's important to have this sort of like not vicious cycle, but I don't know, is it victorious cycle? I'm from an economics major, so as in like, because that specific equipment's not providing you with enough like benefits, you can basically shift that money that you've basically spent onto something that might help you in your photography career, which might, I don't know, make money out of it. And if you make money out of it, because you can basically reinvest that money into better equipments or cameras or lenses and stuff like that, that will offer you that potential. If not, I mean, it's like a brick. It's not helping you at all. So I don't know if I made any sense to you guys, but I'm curious. Like, everyone probably has this moment in life where they have a specific lens or camera in their sort of like cabinet, but they haven't used it for a long time. And I'm like curious if you guys have any kind of like similar experience with that. Like it could be digital, it could be film cameras, but film cameras, this is exceptional because there are collectors who basically collect cameras and basically not use it, but those are basically for investment purposes and stuff like that. So not those types of people, but people who actually do it as a hobby maybe. I'm like curious, do you guys have any specific lenses that you haven't used for prolonged sessions or seasons and you ended up like selling? I'm kind of curious like what kind of lenses fit into that category. So yeah, this has been a long video. If you guys found it informative, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Peace out.